Global Accessibility Awareness Day 2018, jointly hosted by Mitra Jyoti and Prakat Solutions at Mitra Jyoti campus, was a truly an inclusive and enriching event. This time GAD is celebrated as a series of events to make it more effective and reach out to various sections of the society, from students to geeks and NGOs to end users. Mitra Jyoti hosted the event specifically catering to the NGO sector and to all people with print disabilities. The program started with an introduction to GAD by Ms. Madhu Singhal and Mr. Srinivasa Chakravartila. This was followed by the most interesting session of the evening, keynote addresses by eminent personalities working for the cause of people with disabilities in India. Mr. Devendra Manika addressed on universal design principle and necessary assistive technology to make everything available and usable by all. Ms. Kanchan Pamnani called out to all present in the audience, be it organizations or individuals, to identify a particular aspect of accessibility where a lot of work needs to be done, adopt it as a challenge and work on it in persuasive ways. Mr. Mujtaba Merchant spoke about how a journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step in the accessibility context. The keynote address was followed by a very interactive question and answer session. The program concluded with an event summarization by Mrs. Anuradha Biswas, Mr. Krishna Kumar and Mrs. Yuma Krishnamurthy.
A very good evening to all of you present here. The Global Accessibility Awareness Day, GAD, is a worldwide phenomenon celebrating diversity and calling attention to the need for conscious and sustained efforts towards inclusivity and accessibility. Prakat Technologies, with its partners, has been at the forefront of these efforts in India and has been organizing the GAD event for the past few years. The GAD 2018 has been envisioned as a series of events allowing the 4 pillars working towards accessibility, that is, the students, the youth, the NGOs, the professionals as well as the corporates coming together. GAD 2018 kicked off on a grand scale in the second week of April through the GAD for Students initiative. This event saw 300 students from about 15 colleges assemble for the inaugural event at the APS College of Engineering. Students were provided tools to test the accessibility quotient of several applications and had to write a blog post about their experiences. Out of the competing teams, 10 teams have already been shortlisted by a panel of experts from the corporate sector. The winners of the event will be announced at the final GAD event on the 17th of May. GAD for Geeks between the 14th and 16th of May provides an opportunity for quality and developmental engineers to learn about accessibility. An accessibility clinic will be made available for them to test their code, website, and mobile app for accessibility compliance. GAD Gala is the culminating event on the 17th, where achievers in the world of accessibility are recognized and get a platform to share their stories at the Leadership Conclave and the celebrations that follow. And today, we bring together various partners in the form of NGOs and experts working in the field of accessibility. I welcome you all to today's event. We start today's proceedings with an invocation song by the students of Mitra Jyoti. I welcome Kriya, Chandri and Vaishali. I also request Mr. Pranay, Ms. Madhu Singhal, Mr. Gautam Agarwal and Anuradha Biswas to please come up to light the lamp.
हमको मन की शक्ति देना, मन विजय करे, दूसरों से जैसे पहले खुद को जय करे. हमको मन की शक्ति देना.
Chandri and Vaishali for a truly auspicious beginning to today's proceedings. Miss Madhu Singhal was an ambitious and self-driven child who fought against all odds to not only successfully complete her education, but she excelled all the way. She was the best student of her college, and her passion for Hindustani classical music led her to complete her master's degree in Hindustani music. She came to Bangalore and wanted to do something significant for the cause of the blind. Her brother-in-law, Mr. G.P. Goyal, encouraged her to dream big and was the pillar of her strength. In 1990, along with 8 other dedicated individuals, she began the journey of Mitra Jyoti, and the rest is history. Ms. Madhu Singhal's passion and selfless service has got her several accolades from various organizations worldwide. The jewel in her crown is the National Award for the Empowerment of Persons with Disabilities that was conferred on her in the year 2008. Ms. Madhu Singhal is a true inspiration to all. Some of the major awards she has received are Helen Keller Award from NCPEDP, State Award for Empowerment of Persons with Disability from the Government of Karnataka, Zee Astitwa Award from Zee Telefilms Limited, Suburban Mumbai in 2005, IBN 7 Bajaj Alliance Award in 2010, and an honorary doctorate by the State Women's University, Bijapur. I now request Ms. Madhu Singhal to welcome the gathering.
Good afternoon, one and all. Today, is it okay? Is it working? Today, my pleasure to welcome you all on the occasion of Global Accessibility Awareness Day, that is always celebrate on Thursday of May. I am happy to say that today we are gathered together. With us, there are so many celebrities from Mitra Jyoti, Prakat, Informatica, and others. This is Global Accessibility Awareness Day, has come in, I think so, from 4-5 years, from 2012 onwards. And we are just demanding that we, all of us, need accessibility, whatever it is, but we all are together and we need accessibility. I am happy that our friends are here from different parts of the country. Mr. Dipendra Manecha doesn't need any kind of introduction from Delhi. Ms. Kanchan Pamnani from Mumbai, the solicitor, again, she doesn't need any introduction. Also, Mr. Mustafa, he works for Infosys, right? TCS, sorry. He works for TCS and he is with us. Sorry. So, along with that, I have a lot of friends with us from different parts of the life from Bangalore, and I wish all the best, and the program will be moving, and all of us today, we should take a pledge that we should bring accessibility in all aspects, everywhere, accessibility. So thank you so much, and all of us has to see how this function move on and enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you for the warm welcome, Madhuji. I now call upon stage a person who said, please don't introduce me, I'll introduce myself, but who has been instrumental in GAD being organized through these years. He has been one of the pillars who has given encouragement and said, yes, we will do it. And we like to call him Vasu. He is going to introduce himself to you. I request Vasu to come on stage to talk about GAD 2018.
Okay. Before I begin, with permission of everybody here, let's take a couple of minutes and remember a gentleman who has done quite a tremendous work in the area of disability and accessibility in this country. And of course, he's contributed quite a lot to community at large in the international level as well. May I request Alphaz remember and observe a couple of minutes silent for the gentleman who recently left all of us and went for divine abode, Mr. Javed Abedi. Can we stand up for a couple of minutes for him? Thank you. Okay. The reason I have requested Madhumati not to introduce myself, and I do myself, because she has asked me if I have a write-up about me where she can introduce. Unfortunately, I don't have one. My name is Srinivasu. A lot of you know me as Vasu, and some people call me as Srini. But accessibility is something that is very close to my heart. I just don't use accessibility as something which gives my paycheck, but I really think of it day in. I don't say day out because I sleep. But wherever we go, whether we are on vacation or work or anything, if we visit any place, we think, is this place accessible to all of us, including our friends with disabilities? And accessibility beyond the disabilities. Now, my job today, so that's just a brief introduction. I've been working in the accessibility space for about 12 years. Currently, I work for a company called Informatica, which is into data space. And I also help, not really help, but try and help companies like Prakart and whoever have great passion towards promoting accessibility. I also work with something called International Association of Accessibility Professionals in their couple of subcommittees which will work towards the organizational and individual development. So that's a very recently started charter. And I also actively involve in something called Accessibility Guidelines Working Group of W3C, which is World Wide Web Consortium, which actually set the standards for building the World Wide Web and the different technologies that used to make the web applications and so on. So that's a little about me. I live in Bangalore with my wife and 2 children, 1 daughter and 1 son, who are pretty small and who keep us busy. Coming to this GAD, Global Accessibility Awareness Day. How it all started is just with one single blog post by somebody called Joy Divan, who is a developer but very passionate about building the inclusive applications. So though he does not really have any relation with disability or anything, somehow he built a passion towards inclusion, and he started building accessible applications himself. Then he just one fine evening he wrote a blog post saying, "Oh, we have a lot of conferences happening in the accessibility space around the world, and name a few or something like CSUN and ATIA and so on. But it involves a lot of investment by people to attend such conferences. How many of you in this room would like to go to US and attend a conference every year? You would like, but would you? Yeah. Right? Everyone likes, but possibly whether it is possible, right? So that's a different story. So because it's a very expensive affair for a lot of people. So he thought we should have a platform where we can raise the awareness in a very meaningful and even any small way that is possible. So he just wrote a blog post and slept. Thinking that, okay, I just wrote a blog post as part of my post, but nothing is going to happen. Next day morning, he saw a tweet back from somebody called Jennison, who is currently works for LinkedIn, a social networking company, which is part of Microsoft now anyway. So he responded saying that, oh man, we should definitely do something about it. Okay. So that is how then they started discussing deep into this, and they decided, okay, let's observe one day in a year and call it as Global Accessibility Awareness Day. In fact, when we are actually doing the GAD event here in India, recently when we approached them for a message from them, they also sent us a message saying that they're quite happy that we are doing it, and we are also dedicated a website for it called gaad.in. So they're quite happy that we are all doing it here. So that is how it is actually started by two of them, saying that let's observe one day in a year, and it's become a global momentum. Why it has grown so much and become a global momentum? Because it does not require a huge effort in terms of, if you want to do it a big conference, you can do it, or even if you want to do it a very small event, like you want to bring together a couple of families around your apartment complex and teach them about, okay, how accessible your building is. Okay, does your building usable to people with disabilities? Does it usable to elderly? You can even talk as simple as that. Or even you can bring together your team members in your company, just group of people, and talk about the accessibility. Or ask them to use some of the applications, okay, that they regularly use. Qualitatively, a lot of us use the time on Facebook. Okay, so let's use that for 30 minutes without touching the mouse and see how that feels. Or give them some technology like a small NVDA screen reader and ask them to use it for some time. Or use the mobile phone with a talkback or voiceover. Or simple examples. Or ask somebody to watch a movie which is not in their language that they know of. Okay? So you can name any small incident that you want to celebrate, but do it in your way. That's okay. Okay? So then a lot of companies started investing time and doing this in their own offices or offices around it and so on. So that is how it is evolved and become a very global momentum. If you look at least when I saw the last time a couple of days ago, there are 50 events happening across the world on 17th May this year. Okay, and the number is going to grow the closer we are going to be. And in India, thanks to Mitrajyoti, Prakat, the supporters like Pratyan and everybody else who have been supporting this event for years now. For at least last 3 to 4 years, we have been doing this event in Bangalore. And if you have noticed, 2016, if I remember the year correctly, 2016 we had the Global Accessibility Awareness right in this room. Okay, and in 2017, last year, we had it in Nimhans. And this year, as Ms. Madhumati has mentioned, we want to do it in a different way, and we want to reach to mass audiences in different segments of people. So today's event in this campus, the objective of today is, here all, except for a few people, but a lot of disability organizations and people with disabilities. So why we thought of doing it exclusively for you, though we always talk about inclusion and all, but this particular thing we thought it as, let's do it exclusively, and there's a reason for it. All of us has to play a role promoting the accessibility. In fact, disability organizations can play much better role to promote accessibility and make things happen than anybody else. Okay? We can either use the request, we can either use the ask, or if the people don't listen, we can even threaten them. If they don't make things accessible, first we have Kanchan here who will take you to the court. Okay? So, sorry? Yeah, we will do that. We'll come to that. That's what we're going to talk about today. Okay? So, from end to end. So, but the disability organizations has to play a key role because in India we have lots of things and everything is going digital and lot of buildings are getting constructed every day, may it be for office, residential or anything. How many of them are accessible? Or do we say, come back after 50 years and say that, okay, let's create awareness to all the builders? Not really, right? We need to start doing at some point. But believe me, for last 10 to 15 years, things are happening in a good way, in much better way than before. But it has to grow. And as an organization, we need to know how we should be doing the advocacy. In my personal opinion, at some point, we should also have our NGOs work in such a way how before I name the organization, how many of you in this room happen to be blind and use the iPhone? Lot of you, right? Okay. Can we accept that one of the leading organization working for the blind is possibly reason for this? Called National Federation of the Blind. Dipendra, can you please confirm that? Yeah. So, if that organization wouldn't have actually gone to Apple or actually quote and say that you have launched a iPod Touch and it's not accessible to us. Okay? If they wouldn't have done that, they would have said, okay, chalo, chalta hai, it's okay, let's live with it. And we wouldn't have seen the iPhone or we wouldn't have even seen the other products like Google products or Microsoft products and all. So a lot of things, so that's the kind of advocacy that they do. But at the same time, the organization, people in the organization are also very qualitative in terms of using the technology or whatever cause they are advocating for. If they are advocating for to make a building accessible, they will be having a SMEs in their space, either on their organization or they will be having connects, right? So we in India, my vision is, of course, some of the organizations are already doing it, but I would actually love to see more organizations doing it in every state, and we want to be, the disability organizations should be play a strong role in disseminating the awareness about accessibility and particularly the follow-up. I'm sure Kanchan will touch upon this. So following up with people and organizations and make things inclusion. And second part of the objective of this event today is we have, lot of us use the technology here, being people with disabilities. But when it comes, when something is inaccessible, except some of us, but lot of us, what we do is we discuss among ourselves. Either we figure out a workaround and may go with it, or if it is not accessible, we'll take crib about it saying it is not accessible, it doesn't work and all that, and we just leave it there. Am I right? That is what a lot of things happens. Okay? But how many of us really go and bug that app developer saying that, oh damn, I am using your product, why the hell are you not making it accessible? Please don't use the very same word when you are approaching, but yeah. So we need to know how do we approach the developers or organizations to make their products and services or infrastructure accessible. A lot of things will happen when we actually approach the right people. If we just discuss among ourselves and leave it, it will sometimes somebody like our Guru Dipendra might take it up and work with somebody and make things happen. But other times it will just go away. We are not able to do anything, right? So these are the two topics we are going to discuss about things today. And we have a wonderful set of speakers. My sincere gratitude to Kanchan coming all the way from Mumbai and Dipendra. Sorry, I'm not doing the vote of thanks. Okay? Yeah, Dipendra. And Mujtaba is one special guy I need to mention. By the way, I'm instrumental in getting him here, but this is the first time I'm meeting him as well. Okay, so there's a selfish reason that I wanted to meet him in person. Okay, but I'm pretty sure he doesn't work directly into accessibility space, at least as much as I know, but he thinks of accessibility day in and probably day out, because I keep seeing him, his posting at the middle of the night. Okay, so but he actually right back to developers, right back to people, and quite a lot of things he energetically does. So he's going to share a lot of insights. And what else I should be talking about? Okay, yeah, and yeah, and there is a lot more job for both for Prakat and Madhu. This is not the end of doing this this event and washing your hands. So by doing this event, you're actually getting a lot of publicity, so your responsibility actually begins here to grow more in this space. Okay? Thank you very much, everybody, and enjoy the day.
Vasu, now you know why he didn't allow me to introduce him. There's so many things that I wouldn't have done justice. Thank you, Vasu. As mentioned earlier, we have with us today eminent personalities who have gone beyond their call of duty to work towards accessibility and to provide inclusivity. I welcome Mr. Mujtaba Merchant, Ms. Kanchan Pamnani, and Mr. Deependra Manocha. Would you all please come up on stage along with Ms. Madhu Singhal? Steps. First keynote speaker for today, Mr. Deependra Manocha, is working as the Developing Countries Coordinator and Lead of Training and Tech Support with the DAISY Consortium. He is a member of the Executive Committee of the World Blind Union and the Managing Trustee of the Saksham Trust. He worked as a consultant to the Delhi University for establishing the Resource Center for Persons with Disability. He has been working with establishments of IT training facility for persons with blindness. He's developed a Hindi language Braille transcription software, established the digital library for the print disabled. He has created content for university books in Braille, e-text, and talking books format being supported by the Ministry of Information and Communication Technology, Government of India. He has developed the screen reading software for Indian languages. He has established Equipment Distribution Center for Persons with Blindness. He has helped in creating audio description of films. He has also coordinated with providing IT-based workplace solutions for persons with blindness or low vision. In recognition of his work, he has been selected as an Ashoka Fellow and recognized as a social entrepreneur. He has received the National Award by the Government of India for contributions for community development in the area of disability. And IIM Lucknow Lakshmipad Singhania National Leadership Award, which was given by the President of India in 2007. Let us all put our hands together for this wonderful gentleman, and I request him to please come up to the podium.
Yes, I just would like to inform you on this occasion, when we are talking about accessibility, Deepinder is always working towards it. I don't know, accessibility, day or global accessibility day has come now, but from the beginning, he is always thinking about accessibility. Just now, I got a phone call from Delhi Saksham that they want to do one audio descriptive movie in Kannada. So any of you can suggest me any title which is they want first, a regional language movie should be audio descriptive. So I request the people are sitting here, those who are, Kannada background, can be able to tell me which first movie we can bring Kannada movie in audio description. Thank you.
Hello everybody. So always such a big pleasure coming here to Madhuji at Mitrajyoti, to Bangalore as a whole. I think a city which is very, very vibrant, and I think for the next 2 days it's going to touch the height of vibrancy. Wow, that would be the day. Uske liye to I will have to start with the words mitron. I think that would be the but thankfully I can away from all that and having a lot of fun, lot of excitement in life. Friends, few basic things I think we can discuss about accessibility, although again I feel that this is something where accessibility, when we talk about, is such a universal design phenomena, means that we are talking about making everything accessible. We are not talking about doing some making one or two installations of ATMs accessible. What we are talking about is that each and every ATM should be prepared in a way that is usable by all. So that is something which requires such a huge shift in our thinking. And not just our thinking. Now, we have a role to play, for sure. I'll come to that. That there are two aspects here when we talk about accessibility. One is what I said, universal design, means that whatever infrastructure, product, anything anybody is making, that has to be usable by all. And the second aspect is, when we say usable by all, doesn't mean that it's like for example a computer. Now, computer in itself is usable by us, but we need our assistive technology to use it. So universal design doesn't mean that every computer starts speaking out, but it means that every computer potentially can speak out if we need it and if we put our screen reading software on it. So it's compatible with the assistive technology that we use. So universal design is such a huge word which has been the key of accessibility in the UNCRPD, the UN Convention, adopted in our new law, because we are now obviously compliant to UNCRPD. We are the country that has ratified that treaty. So there are these two critical aspects of making the whole world usable by all, and this second piece where we do have the assistive technology to be able to hook onto this mainstream infrastructure so that we can use it when we need it. Now, how does thing happen today? Because we are sitting in this room, this room is situated in Mitra Jyoti. So our mindset, as soon as we enter into this building, changes, no matter who we are. Unfortunately, the mindset again changes as soon as we go out of this building also. Right, because, so I'll give you an example. I was in one of the colleges, architecture colleges of one of the IITs. So I'm not going to name the specific college there because this is universal. I mean, this is just a representative college, you can say. And the students of architecture who have taken a course on accessibility are all sitting there. So I just said, I think they've all learnt anything that what in a building, what is need to be done for persons with blindness, they would all know at the back of the hand. So what am I here to teach or to tell them something new about accessibility? So I put a question to them. Okay, we are now designing a building, a school for the students with blindness. So I started by saying, we are now here to create a blind school. So first of all, that word has to be understood. A school itself going blind. Right, so that's how we refer. So I said, okay, let's create a blind school. Then they understood my googly and said, no, I think let's create a school for the blind. I said, okay. What do you want to do in that, put in terms of infrastructure as architect when you are designing that? And they created a list of almost 100 things that they would do. So all the tactile blocks and the alarms and bells and whistles and whatnot, I mean everything that you would know on earth that can help us orient and strengthen our mobility within a built space, everything was named. So they had done their homework very well. Now then I said, put your hand on your heart and be very, very, very honest with you and tell me that if my question was that let us build a school, a mainstream school, how many of these things you would have recommended or put in that design? And believe me, everybody was honest about it. And they said, frankly speaking, none of it. So it is there where the gap gets created. Because we tend to think in silos. We all know there is no separate country for the blind that existed only in the title of a novel. In reality, that doesn't exist. So if there is no country for the blind, and there is no possibility, because I'll tell you another incident, so another conference happening of the librarians, the public libraries, infrastructure, and there was a huge movement going on in India in reviving the public libraries in India. And no less than the Melinda Gates Foundation is sort of sponsoring that project, and huge names, the National Library, the whole Ministry of Culture involved in it, and they're kind of trying to revive or, rejuvenate, or I would rather say trying to put Amrit in the dead soul, dead body of the public libraries that exist in most of, at least in North India that I see. South India is still better. So that what happens is that I said that, okay, the same old habit of mine of throwing googlies. So I started putting questions. I said, okay, now a blind person need to study books or read books. Do you think he should go to a mainstream library, normal your public library, or you should build a library for the blind persons? Huh? Unfortunately, all the librarians did not think like that. So most of the people said there should be separate libraries for the blind. So then I got really frustrated. I said, okay, build separate libraries for the blind, only in the condition that you are going to run a separate bank for me, you are going to run a separate airline for me, and you are going to build all the roads that you have built till today, you have to rebuild it separately where I can walk. Then I can accept. Now it's so amazing. All this what I'm saying is currently happening. So when it comes to creating a digital library of India, it is inaccessible. When it comes to creating a website, and Gautamji is here in the room, we both have tried our, all the things, all the tricks in our bag, we tried to go to the education board in Karnataka, telling them that you are going to put up digital files of your textbooks for this year, or was it last year, I think now, already 1 year passed, that you are going to put the digital copies of that on your website. Please adhere to 2 standards. Just make them available in EPUB format and use Unicode based font. It is not going to hamper accessibility of the mainstream people on it. Only thing is that it will allow us to publish it in Braille or to read it on our computers or on our refreshable Braille displays and so on and so forth. And when you do it, while you are creating books, if you adhere to just these 2 simple things, just use the font, just change the font that you are using and right from the word go, so that we don't have to recreate it. Believe it or not, that did not happen. It was still told well in time. They were actually creating those books and they ended up creating inaccessible copies. That means we had to build our road separately again. They built the mainstream. Huh? No, now is the time. Now is the time. Now is the time. So that time we were actually using all our persuasive method. We are saying that, okay, we will do conversion for you. You don't have to pay. If you're thinking of expenditure, we will do expenditure. At least put accessible copy on your mainstream website so that everybody can use it. Why do I need to go a separate website to download a book that I can read? can't I just go, if you're putting a digital copy of a book, why don't you put it on the mainstream website where everybody else is taking the books from? No. And Mitra Jyoti and I think NFB would have again done all the digitization to try to build the Braille books. Whole digitization work would have happened again. Is it correct? Yes. Yeah. So that has happened. That's right here. Happening right now. The whole syllabus has been re-digitized. The whole digitization process had to go be done again. And this is not just happening in Karnataka, it's happening all over the country in each and every education board. Each and every book that is produced in Braille is re-digitized. The mainstream copy is also digitized, but then we re-digitize it for making it accessible to the blind. So that means we are continuing to build separate roads, we are continuing to build separate railways for ourselves, and all that is happening. Well, the law has been enacted in 2016, right? Now I'm just going to talk in bullet terms into few things so that we will get a chance to listen to everybody. How can this law be used? So first thing, law says that all this information, digital information, books, everything has to be accessible. We are compliant to UNCRPD. Fine. So that means the legal mandate is there. There is a breather space given to everybody saying that within 2 years' time, or I think Kanchan can elaborate on it, what are the deadlines given to everybody to make their infrastructure accessible. Whatever public infrastructure is there has to be accessible to all. Means it has to be compliant to universal design principles that I just spoke about. What happens after that? We can really start having fun. It's a new game has to start. And the game has to be, I don't know, in North India we used to do Poshampa bhai Poshampa, I don't know. Huh? डाकियों ने क्या किया, 100 रुपए की घड़ी चढ़ाई, अब तो जेल में जाना ही पड़ेगा. So the game has to be catch hold of anybody, put them in jail. And believe me, there will be a lot of people who will be worthy of doing that, getting there, because his deadlines are pretty stiff. But what happens? One is this fear of law. And how do we create fear of law? By creating examples. So we don't want half of India to be in jail. Right? We just want 1 or 2 initial bakras or murgas to be put in jail. So that everybody else understands that if they don't do it, and publicize it heavily, so that other people do know that if they don't do, comply with this universal design and have this such a weird thing of recreating everything for disabled, to get away from it, that such things must happen. And this is how things have happened in many countries. So there was a famous AOL case in US that happened. Now AOL was a company that provided like you can say precursor of Google. Used to provide email services. It was a portal. Vasu, isn't it? Netscape. So AOL was, their own website was inaccessible, could not be used with the help of screen reading software. And the same organization that Vasu said, National Federation of the Blind, filed a suit against them. And they actually won that suit. And it was publicized in whole of the world. That even I know about it thoroughly, the whole case. So it was said that nicely publicized. And so what happened is that once they got penalized very heavily for not being accessible, all the other people started falling in place. So that is one method. So Kanchan is going to be getting a lot of business from the coming year onwards. And believe me, that is something which is required. Because that's what, again, I would say Vasu was saying, that role of organizations is going to change. We must realize this. We have the law now. And if there is somebody who's not complying with the law, we do need to make noise about it. Only then the compliance will start happening. So the companies, IT companies in India know all about accessibility. But when these same companies create websites for India, they are inaccessible. But when they make websites for US, they are accessible. Simply because they don't want to become AOL again. They don't want to lose millions of dollars just because they didn't comply or made themselves accessible. Second thing that hits them is obviously the business. So today, how many of the iPhone or Android users are able to use Kindle? Huh? Very few? Oh. We can. But we do we? Okay. So, Kindle was something like a few years ago, it was kind of a revolution because I had access to few thousand books. I could choose from few thousand books to read from. And then suddenly one day, I could download a Kindle app on my iPhone which was accessible. And what did it do? Suddenly, 3 million books became accessible to me. That's the power of mainstream becoming accessible. So it's a main road meant for everybody else that was made accessible to us. What we are doing as Daisy Forum of India as Special Library is trying to recreate the road. We can never match what happens in the mainstream because we are just trying to republish everything. It's economically not possible. So Kindle app became accessible. Why did it become accessible? There was a multi-million-dollar deal happening between the Department of Education of US and this Kindle was not accessible, not usable by persons with blindness. So again, the same NFB actually filed a suit against them. They went to the road, they did all the dharnas, they went to the court, and the deal was scrapped. So Kindle, the Amazon lost that deal completely. And today, NFB is a partner to Amazon to make sure that whatever products come out of this Kindle thing are all fully usable by persons with blindness before they are released in market. I think that deserves a huge clap basically. Because, huge clap to this thing because it completely overturned the whole meaning of accessibility, of accessible books. Huge movement. So this is the power of what one thing can do. And now